Okay, Mario once again with MIA Microflight. I am working on a new go-kart, and this is going to be uh, my third iteration. I want it to be very much similar to this guy right here. This is a radio control go-kart that I did many years ago. And as you can see, this is built just with square tubing. This is quarter-inch square tubing, and so I'm doing the same thing in full scale using one and a half, I believe 1.5 inch square tubing, steel tubing. So I already have the frame assembled, basically just just a front and back, just like you see it here. And I am using these brackets here that I bought at Amazon. These are 7-inch brackets, steel brackets, 3mm thick, so they're pretty hefty brackets. And I'm sandwiching these tubing sections, but with these brackets, like that, one on top and one at the bottom, to create the just a very simple frame here. I'm not going to talk about how I'm going to do the seat. That is going to be another just another thought process, but I just want this particular frame, and I wanted this frame very similar to the frame that I did with the telescopic tubing, steel tubing that I did also many years ago. That go-kart worked really nice, and it was very lightweight. The one that it's more complex, that is inspired by a racing go-kart, the racing go-kart frame, the one that's done with maker pipe connectors and EMT tubing that I've been showing in some recent videos. That one is very, very heavy. Even though it doesn't look like it's heavy, it's heavy and I'm having the motors overheat on me, those dual motors. And so what I want to do is I want to do one like this so that I can still use those hoverboard motors, and it'll be nice and light and simple too, that I can manipulate my feet around the ground if I need to move the car around. The go-kart, the more racing style go-kart does not allow me to do that. It's very compact. When you sit there, you're really, it fits like you sit like if you were wearing a glove. It's very, very compact. Even though it's comfortable for the legs, the distance to my legs, I mean, it's fine, but it's very compact. And so I wanted to do this particular frame here, kind of mimic my radio control go-kart. And I've been doing some drawings here, just working some of the angles, because on my racing go-kart, because it's made with EMT tubing and maker pipe connectors, kind of I did my own custom spindles. If you look at those videos, with some runs that I did on it, some test runs, some of those angles have begun to shift. So I ended up bracing the front end. I did that last night. I'll do another video on that one and show what I did there. But going back to this guy here, this new one that I'm trying to build, again using this sort of a T shape or H shape frame, like I was saying, very similar to the way I did with the telescopic steel tubing. I decided to revisit the angles here, what is called the Ackerman angles. So what the Ackerman angle is basically are the angles set via the tie rods that control the steering, so that when you enter a curve, this wheel right here, let's see, you're entering a curve that way, this wheel is going, okay honey, this wheel is going to turn a lot more than this outer wheel. And so that's done by making these angles here on the tie rods in a way that allows that. And so to do that, basically what you do is you take your frame, and this is where the axle at the front end is, and this would be the axle at the rear end, and you draw a center line here. And at this point right here, where this makes contact with this pivot point on the wheel, you draw a line, and that angle right there is where your tie rod would sit right here. So this is a rear steering, what is called rear steering. They also have front steering. My go-kart that I did with the telescopic tubing, I did it as a front steering, and for that I wasn't too concerned about the angles here. I just made it as close to the wheel as possible as I could. As you can see here, you could put the tie rods right here at the front, and you still have room for the wheel to spin in this case. Okay, and so on this go-kart right here, you'll see that I do have Ackerman here. If you look at the if I were to put a draw a line, an imaginary line from the axle, rear axle, through the pivot point of my wheel, which is that bolt, that front bolt here, the rear bolt right here that attaches to the links, to the control links or the steering links, is a little bit offset inward from this point right here. So it's inward because it's a rear steering. And if we look at the steering here, when we turn, we can see that this wheel is turning a little more than this outer wheel. And so that's what is known as Ackerman angles, or the Ackerman setup or adjustment. And so it's done by the offset of this arm right here where the ball links connect. If this was straight, just a 90-degree straight connection to the ball link, you would not have this. And so that's what I've been revisiting and just making sure that I have my angles right here, so that when I do this car right here, the one that I said that I'm using this H shape, and I'm going to show that in just a little bit, I have the right angles. The way I'm also going to do my spindles, and I could buy the spindles already made. I mean, I could buy the whole car if I wanted to. I mean, it's not an issue for me, but I don't. I like working on things like this, experimenting. It's part of the fun. Making things. I like making things, and I like doing things my way. And so I decided to make my own spindles. So I did, the maker pipe with the EMT tubing go-kart. Wanted to get creative with that, and that's how that came about. And so with these brackets right here, I've been thinking, how am I going to make the spindles, with this setup here. I already welded some spindles, just to give myself a chance at welding. I'm not a pro welder, but I gave it my best, and I came up with these spindles, and just to allow me to get my feet wet in welding. So I welded some spindles, and I'll show that in a minute. There, it's kind of a test. But what I want to do is I've been thinking of using these steel 3mm T brackets in a way that it'll give me my spindle here. And so that's what I have here in these drawings. Is here's the bracket basically, and there's a couple ways that I could bend this so that it gives me this C bracket here, and then I can just put a 5/8 bolt right through that bracket to create my spindle. Where the wheel, my spindle axle, where the wheel spins. Well, this would be the bearing, for the wheel, and so this would be my bolt. Very, very similar to the way I did these guys right here. So you can see that with the 3D printed parts, you can see that bracket there. So this bracket right here, the way I'm doing this, I have a bolt right through the wall, the outside wall of this C bracket, and it already has the offset tabs right here for the ball links to go to, or the tie rods. So I think what I'm going to do is do that. I'm going to bend this. I'm going to bend this like that, so that it creates the C part right there. So this will be, let me think, how was I going to do this? Yeah, like this. Okay, so I'm going to bend at this point right here, and at this point right here, to give me the enough height for this to fit over the square 1.5 inch square tubing. So this would have to be 1.5 inches, you know, where my bend lines are going to be. A fold here, a fold there, and I have my C bracket, and this will have to be enlarged so that I can put my bolt right through that. Attach it at the back, you know, with a lock nut, and that'll be my axle, you know, for my front wheel. Now, when this is bent, I'm going to have this portion right here vertical here, and so what I'm going to do is once I have the C bracket bent, just imagine C bracket, you know, coming in C from here, bent at the bottom. This is going to be vertical here, so I'm going to have to put a twist here so that I can make this section here flat. So I'm going to have to twist that, make it flat, and then I'm going to bend it inwards for the right side, so it gives me that offset tab, like you see it there, in that kind of quick drawing, or something like this. And so from this bracket, that's what I'm going to create. I just you know, I was just pondering on this, and you know, this just dawned on me. Just looking at my go-kart, I say, you know, let me pull my go-kart and let me see how I did this. And so that's what I'm going to do. You know, it's going to be very similar to this go-kart. The Ackerman is going to be there. I can even add a couple more holes here, you know, just to give me some additional fine-tuning offsets, you know, for the tie rods. And I'll have my spindles nice and easy, no welding. And just need to I may need to weld this because I think I'm going to just grind just a line here, so it allows me to bend this nice and easy and even on my vise. But once I have that, I may need to come back here and weld, you know, just put a fillet just to reinforce that bend. But I don't think it's going to go anywhere once that is already bent, and it's over that aluminum, not aluminum, but the steel square tubing. You know, the square tubing is providing a solid reference, you know, for this. So this is not going to bend. This is not going to twist. So that's what I'm going to do here. And now I'm going to show the frame. So let's go to my shed here. Okay, I'm going to have to bring this inside my shed here because it's I can't let's put that bearing there, those brackets there, the bolts. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, this is the square steel tubing, and this is basically fence material from Home Depot. I got a bunch of this stuff because I was rebuilding a gate, and instead of returning, you know, they're sitting kind of on the wall there. I got about 10 of these pieces, so I decided just to keep it, you know, for other projects. But this is it's 1.5 square steel tubing, and so you can see the brackets here, the T brackets there, and they're very similar to the go-kart that I showed. And right behind here is my original go-kart that I did with the hoverboard motors. Just attached that to the rear here. This is more compact. This is 4 feet in length and 2 foot sections on the ends here. I don't want to go too wide as my racing inspired my go-kart, the conduit and maker pipe connector racing style go-kart. That one's it's got a 44 inch wheelbase at the back. This one being 24 inches of these tubes are. It's probably going to be about 30, no more than 36 inches, and it'll keep it compact. This right here is about this one, because it uses the hoverboard. I decided to keep the hoverboard intact. And so it's the same width as a hoverboard, which is about 23, 24 inches. And with this is very compact, and I can run this with no problem whatsoever. The motors don't overheat because it's lightweight, as opposed to my racing go-kart, which use the same motors as this hoverboard section here. But that one, the motors do overheat if I run it too long. So yeah, I can't run it for too long. But this is the one that I did with the telescopic tubing. So you can see this is. This one I believe is 3 feet, so it's very compact. Yeah, this one's 36 inches. I mean, this 36 inch thing. So I'm going to do the same thing, with this one right here. This is going to be a little more clean and more elegant, I believe, than this one here. This one is very industrial looking because of all the perforations, but it allowed me to to experiment and move things around because of all these perforations. But now that I got the a good reference, this one should be pretty decent, nice looking go-kart here. Very simple, very lightweight, and I will be doing some more videos on that. You can see the front steering there, and as I was saying, the Ackerman angles on this one has slightly Ackerman towards the front because it's a front steering. Plus, it's got this offset here, for these homemade tie rods. So that's what I've been working on. My mind has been on go-karts. I keep shifting from. Not too long ago, I was doing an ultralight, quarter scale ultralight. Then I went to rubber powered helicopters, and I jumped into this. But that's how my mind operates. I kind of shift things around. It allows me to free my mind, from one thing to the other, and then come back. So here's the other type of my other type of front end here. I was going to do this with 2-inch steel tubing here, and the same thing. This is a fence material from Home Depot. I was building a CNC machine with this, and I had this piece left over, so I was going to do it out of this. And then when I went to Home Depot and I found the 1.5 inch, I decided to go lighter, because this is it doesn't need to be that robust. I'm not racing these things, and I'm not building things to go in the desert and beat the hell out of the go-kart. I'm just building it for fun, to run it in the street, or maybe in a parking lot, or maybe just around my backyard, the track that I have. But this is what I was saying about my practice welding here, and I welded this is a 5/8 inch bolt. I took the head and I welded the head to a piece of steel pipe, just a little short pipe, and then I welded this this steel here. This also came from I think this came from a bracket, like just a shelving bracket, like a heavy duty. This is 1/8 inch thick steel, and so yeah, this is from a shelving bracket. So I cut that bracket in half, and then that's how I got my the tab here for the tie rods. But if you can see here, this also has a little bit of offset here, angle towards the back, because this is rear steering. This could also have a little more. This could maybe another 1/2 inch. I could have made this a little bit with a little more Ackerman here angle. But it was a practice piece, and I cut this to allow me, and I'm using the same thing. This one I slotted that, so it'll give me some room to spin this around. But the way that I explained in my drawing on the other one, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to cut the material. I want to use the outside bracket, C bracket, that's made out of that those steel brackets. It's going to be my spindle right here. So I am going to I'm going to mark these. I'm going to take them inside, mark them, and then so that I can bend this. And I am going to take a piece of this tubing right here, so that I can bend it. I got some wheels for this car that I'm building. I bought these from Amazon. They come with ball bearings, but I decided to go with the those are these don't have tubes. They're solid. They're solid wheels. You know, they don't have tubes, and they're not tubeless. Tubeless wheels. You know, you can inflate those. These you can't inflate. They just, you know, one shot and that's it. So I'm gonna keep these for another project, for another go-kart, maybe for my grandkids. But getting back to this right here, here's a piece of tubing, 1.5 inch square tubing. So assuming that this is the front here, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole about maybe ½ inch inside here, and then this bracket will be bent in a C form. Boom, boom, boom. And then this will be twisted. This part right here will be twisted horizontally and inward to create my left spindle, and then I'll mirror image that on the right hand side. So that's where I'm at right now. I think it's going to work very, very nicely. Mario once again with my microflight. Stay tuned for more.